In this episode, we explore the inspiring journey of Randall, our online client based in Sacramento, US, who joined our online transformation program because he was fed up for forever trying to get in shape without any good results to show for it. He tried different training methods and diets, only to find himself in a place where after dropping a few pounds, he would regain the weight and feel frustrated again. Randall works as a nurse in a hospital in a trauma department, and for years he worked night shifts, which meant that his energy and recovery were suboptimal, and he had little to no time to balance family life and training on top of that. After seeing the results of one of our online clients, Randall decided to book a call and sign up for the program. Together, we helped Randall lose 40 pounds of body fat and achieve an incredible physique that he is extremely proud of. Let's dive into this episode and discover the reasons and motivation behind Randall's success and his experience on the program and with working with us online. So how did you find the whole thing?
The whole thing, I mean...
From the very beginning, I suppose.
The very beginning, yeah. I mean...
Because it's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. It's a journey, I guess. I mean, it feels like a journey, I guess. Pretty much... The whole thing has been life-altering, I guess you can say. Everything I feel like in as far as what I've been wanting to change this has changed in a positive, upwards way. I guess you can kind of take it as not just physical, mental, psychological. We were talking about that too, just overall health and just things that for me, especially thinking about more, not just the physical, I guess. It's like everything like internally, mentally is definitely something that I'm a little bit more interested in at the end of the journey.
Yeah.
Versus like the beginning, it's kind of just like, I know I got to stick with the tracking and this, and then when you get all those ducks aligned, then you're like, okay, I know where I got to go, and then it kind of veers to something else, and then you didn't really realize that that's what you're going to be doing. So
at the beginning, it's a lot about the physical, isn't it? It's about shedding that weight off, burning fats, and kind of seeing those numbers on the scales go down.
Yeah, that's all I that's what I signed up for. I thought it was just going to be just of course it's a transformation, so that's what you hope and that's what you expect, kind of thing. So how did you land on the program? Because you've been with us for over 2 years now.
Is it? Or just about 2 years, right? About 2 years. Yeah. So going back all the way to when you first started, how did you hear about the program? How did you hear about me?
My wife actually has a friend. I completely forgot his
Matt,
name, but
I think it was right, okay, Matt.
But yeah, he had posted on Facebook, and my wife had seen it, and she'd shown it to me, and I was like, "That's great." And he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, has these pictures, and he's went through this program, and I was like, "Oh, it looks amazing." Like, give me the contact information of whoever he was working with, and then I'll see if I can reach out. Just because, it's like. I'm sure there was probably more. There's people around everywhere, but then maybe just from the pictures that I saw, and just like maybe the story that he put down, I don't remember really exactly, but something that kind of sparked that I was like, I think I want to talk to these guys and see what they're about.
Well, I think also what helped is because your wife knew him, right, in some capacity. Like they either. Because they are both in medical industry, so I think did they work together or something? Or
it was, I think my wife went to school with him at some point.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. That helps that there's
some kind of connection that it's not like just somebody that's throwing something out there. It's like something that you can. Yeah. You actually know is an actual person and has gone through the process. So.
Exactly. Yeah, that helps. That trust element is definitely important there. So prior to joining the program, did you try to lose weight before?
Yeah. I feel like just my my whole life has been trying to lose weight.
Really?
We talked about it initially as far as like when I first started. I would be a yo-yo, I think that's how you refer to it. Mm-hmm. Just be kind of yo-yo dieting where I think I was fixed on certain goals, or I would sign up for different things like a race, a run, or something where I would be like, okay, I would need to do all this training to be able to complete this task. And then once I did that, and I'm like, okay, I can pull back on the gas pedal and then just sign up for the next one, and then I'll start again, versus like kind of just living through everything and then just, I don't know, doing a little bit more mindful things about everything involved in like just living, I guess. Eating, living, drinking, everything.
So you were doing like events like a marathon or half marathon or like races and stuff like that, like bursts where you would kind of hope to lose some weight, but then once that's finished, you kind of go back to your old habits.
Generally, but then I would also do like, I remember like when we got married, when my wife got married in 2018, I did a different challenge where it was like, you sign up for this gym and it would be like 6 weeks. And then I know myself where if there is something like, as far as a challenge, like I can push myself to do that if I know that it's like there's a certain amount of time and it's like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. I'll do it. I'll get it done if I have to. So in that sense, like for the wedding, I think I got to where I wanted to be. And then after the wedding, I feel like I went up again, and it was just like kind of ballooned a little bit more. And then obviously COVID kind of happened, and that messed everybody up. And it's just like, well, where do I go from here? I mean, we tried different things. Even my wife, we did like some online circuit training stuff. It's just all over the place. Different classes. Successful to at that stage for me, I guess, but it was never to what I had wanted. Never to never really. It would probably be a bump, but not really anything lasting.
Yeah. So not a full commitment.
Not a full commitment. Yeah.
So with this program, how different was it? How different did you find this whole experience?
Just overall, I mean, it was, like I said, it was life-changing. I guess it was just everything as far as, I guess like I said, as far as being able to stick to something, I guess the accountability aspect was very helpful.
Yeah.
The tracking, I mean, the app itself is just like great because you have everything just on your screen, and I don't know if it's good or bad for me that I keep looking at it and it's like, oh, I got to do this and this. But for me, I think it was good because I like
ticking things off.
Yeah, I like the checklist. Yeah. So it's like, okay, let me do this, check it off.
So what made it successful and different, for you this time round?
I think the tracking for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Tracking, accountability from you guys, just mostly like it was accountability from you guys, but I feel like it was also just you kind of take yourself accountable just because you see all the numbers.
Yeah.
And if you're not putting it down, it's like the questions in your guys' weekly check-ins, it's like, did you really eat that or did you not?
Yeah.
So it's like
you have to be really honest.
You have to be honest with yourself. It's like, if you're not doing it, you're not doing it, and it shows.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely where there was a line. Tracking for sure. I know, the first probably month or so, it was very surprising where, I mean, I think I jumped into it pretty well as far as like trying to, I mean, I was on the app a while just like trying to figure out how to track, and I'm like, do I have to weigh everything? And it's like, what? This is a lot. But, I mean, you get used to it, and it's like, oh, you're like, oh man, I ate a lot more fat than I thought.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
it's a reality check, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a reality check. It's good fats, some not so good fats, but it's like overall just like
Calories.
the caloric intake. It was just like, that's why you're not losing weight. Obviously.
It is definitely an eye opener, and pretty much across the board, everybody that sits, in those in the podcast or the interviews that we do, it's the very first thing that people notice, and it's like the big hitter.
Yeah,
the
it's
eye
an
opener.
eye-opener,
Oh my god,
for sure.
I've actually been consuming so many calories.
You're like, how come I'm not bigger than I?
Yeah. So what were you before you started? So you've overall you've lost 40 pounds.
Yeah, I guess.
On the program, right?
Yeah.
What was the moment for you? So obviously you saw the transformation photos from Matt that your wife showed you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was obviously motivating, and you kind of like, oh, I want to speak to these guys. But what was the motivation for you wanting to do this?
To continue with you guys, pretty much.
No, to even join the program.
To start it, I mean, probably, like you said, none of the things that I was doing myself were really working. So it's like, at this point, I need to. I had it in my mind where I'm like, well, you have to invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it takes, if that's what you want to do, that's what you got to do. Yeah. So it's like I'm willing to put myself in your guys' hands and just see where it takes. You got to just trust it and just see where it goes.
Are you happy with the result?
Oh, absolutely.
So you said that it's just more than a physical, this whole, the last 2 years, the program, etc.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. So what do you mean? What's changed? What's changed about you? How have you changed as a person? Do you look at things differently? Like what's different?
I don't know if I've changed as a person. Maybe just kind of opened up a little bit more as far as let's see. So I guess with the check-in forms, it was a lot of when I think about trying to just complete it, it's like, for me, I was from a point of view is like overall health kind of thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to be in the space where my mental health would also kind of take a part, because I mean, that's something I wasn't really thinking about at that point.
Yeah.
But especially with my daughter coming into play, it's like I need a lot more breathing exercises and being more mindful and like patience and everything that I want to be for myself so I can be better for her. So it's like, yeah.
And did the program help with that?
Yeah, I think, because there was a point where, I mean, all the numbers, obviously, from the start were kind of everything's like getting, or depending on what you're looking at, it's like numbers are good or bad. I'm not bad, but like you're losing weight, but that's a good thing. So it's like,
so things are improving.
Things
in general,
are all
right?
improving in general, and at one point where I had gotten like the doctor checkups,
mm-hmm.
and then I found out that I had like high cholesterol,
mm-hmm.
and it kind of not really woke me up, but I kind of just thought about it a lot more, and I kind of deep dived on a lot more health. Yeah. I think everything, I mean, even like going from night shift, where I worked night shift and then I switched over to day shift, that everything kind of is connected in that sense, where
Absolutely.
I took my health as far as like, well, sleep is a lot more important to me now than before, obviously. So it's like I take that seriously, and I went on a deep dive and just looked at how important sleep is, and then I did more reading and just listening and watching about things about sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the cholesterol thing, I did more stuff about that and how just like in general, the whole, I guess my view on just like health has changed, even just for like having a primary care physician in the hospital telling you these numbers and what they're for, but it's like, do you actually know what you're talking about, or is it just because that's what you learned? And then it's like, it's not really a whole, I think where I'm at, it's more just like a holistic perspective in health versus it's like I work for the hospital, but it's also like I have a different opinion, and it's like it's interesting because I've definitely delved into like looking into like what's it's called like functional medicine, where they look at the patients as a holistic, and it's how everything is connected, like your gut and your mind and everything is just kind of connected.
Interesting. So would you say from purely having a goal of weight loss, fat loss, you kind of, during the process, you became more open-minded and you kind of started looking overall at your health in a more holistic approach rather than just looking at the numbers on the scales? Because that's really what it is. Like you said, you know, it's about nutrition, it's about stress levels, it's about sleep, it's about, you know, your hormonal balance, all of these things. So the right approach to this whole process is very, very important. It's not just, okay, let's hammer it down and get as much weight off you as possible. But at the same time, we have to make sure that everything is happening in a sort of good way where all your blood markers, your health markers, everything is improving. So it's not just dropping the weight. It's about improving overall health. So great. So that's a big thing, I suppose.
That's a big thing. I think that, I mean, like before that wasn't even on my radar. It's not something I would think about and be like, I'm still young. But now it's like I am turning 40 and I'm just like, oh, I have to think about these things. Like,
And so you mentioned your little daughter. So she's 3.5, right?
Yeah.
So you started when she was, what, about a year?
Yeah, a year or so.
What were the challenges with doing this program and obviously having a family and night shifts? Because, so again, for everybody out there, so you work in a hospital.
I work in a hospital in California. It's a trauma one, and we're just I worked night shift at one point. It was like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I switched over to the opposite, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
But that only happened recently, right?
That
about
happened,
5 months ago.
Yeah, earlier this year. And
so most of the transformation, most
already
of the program,
had happened. So
you were doing night shifts,
Mm-hmm.
and that was to be fair for us, it was quite a challenge.
Oh yeah,
because obviously, you know, sleep being so important. Yes, as a shift worker, like things you will kind of get used to and adjust to certain things, but you know, from a health perspective, that's
from
always going to be
exactly
something that's not going to be so great for your body.
For dealing with my daughter, it was nice because I was able to help to the capacity of how much I could help. It wasn't that well, but it was like I'm a body, I'm there. But it's like coming off night shift and having to take care of her for like a couple hours. It's like
when you want to
sleep.
Watching
the clock. I'm just like, I really want to interact, and I'm just like, I'm not present. So it's just like, I'm just trying to get to sleep, but I can't because I have all these other things, and it's everything kind of just piles up, and it's you do what you can. Stress goes up. All your levels are all out of whack, and
So since you've changed your night shifts to day shifts, how's that been for you in terms of the way you feel, operate, you know, cognitively, energy-wise, recovery?
Just everything I feel like is overall better, even if I'm not getting as good of sleep as I probably can working day shift. Like I'm getting better sleep, but then even on the days where I'm not able to, you can't compare it to when I was on night shift. It's still better than like probably sleeping. The best sleep that I had on night shift. And I'm just like, wow, this is insane. Like I should have done this a lot sooner.
Wow, that's crazy. So how long have you been in like doing night shifts?
Night shift, I feel like that's on that unit. I started in 2013.
Wow.
But I've been working as a nurse since 2009, and I think most of the career I've been working night shift.
So we're talking good part of like 10 plus years, 10 to 12 years. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a long time. So
wow, your body must be thanking you big time.
Some people, we've had people where they go to day shift and they can't do it for some reason. I'm just like, wow.
yeah, there is a point, I suppose, where the body adjusts and
Yeah.
kind of has to cope with it, and
Yeah.
everything else is geared towards it. But yeah, that's great. So you found it
Yeah.
a very positive
Yeah,
change.
the transition was not bad. I think it was just overall positive and just, I mean, it's a different work set. I mean, it's the same type of things, but just like being around a lot more people and just seeing a lot of different things now, or it's good.
And so, from a health perspective, do you feel like you've benefited even in that, you know, that the last sort of 4 or 5 months of having that switch?
Yeah.
Do you feel a positive change from a health perspective? And if so, what do you feel changed? Like your energy, sleep, or like recovery, all of that thing, all of those things.
Energy has been, I feel like, fine. Sleep definitely better. I feel like even activity, even working, when on my work days, I actually, well, I don't know about now because it's so hot outside, but then I've been like on my breaks, I'll go out for a little jog, a little walk or something. So at least I'm active for that hour that I'm on break. So it's like
Nice.
I'm doing some kind of movement.
Yes.
Where it's on nights you can't do anything except if I'm on break, I'm going to go take a nap.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so that's a big change. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that is a big change. Okay, what throughout this whole process on the program, what do you think was like the most challenging thing for you? Apart from the tracking and kind of getting used to everything at the beginning, what else would you say that's been the biggest challenge?
I feel like that was the biggest challenge. The tracking is probably the hardest thing.
And how long did that last? Because it's not forever, right? Once you
No.
get used to it and it becomes a habit, it's kind of easy.
It's yeah. The beginning, maybe the first, probably even less than a month, I would say, because for me especially, I think I'm very I want to get to that number. If it's set, then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get to that number. So it's like I would adjust small things in my diet, and I'm like, this is what I'm eating. This is it. So it's like in the beginning, it was definitely like, what, I have to like scan all this stuff and make sure, oh, if it's not, I got to put it in and all that stuff. So I think getting used to just like different things, I would probably end my nights like that, where it's like just trying to figure out what I'm eating the next day.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got to a point where it's like, oh, I would be able to meal prep or pre-plan days or my next work week at least ahead of time. So it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. I just have to make sure I have the food that I'm prepping, and then that's it. So it's gotten easier. I mean, there's still points where it's, especially if I have back-to-back work weeks, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Just prepping, but
you kind of get it done.
Yeah, you just get it done. It's an adjustment. Just like
and having a small child.
Having a small child is definitely.
So what was difficult about that?
I
mean, I know what it is. But
yeah, I mean, depending on your time, I guess it's you adjust as far as when you can get your workout in, if you can get your workout in, and I mean, you try to. So it's like, obviously, throughout this whole thing, she's changed her sleep habits, and just even like from, I mean, don't get me wrong, she's been like a fantastic sleeper, so that has been very good for us. So on our naps, that's when I would work out, and it'd be nice. But it's changing where it's like, oh, less nap or no nap sometimes. So it's like, oh, well, I just got to wake up earlier, just get it done, and then go through the day. Yeah. At least I know if I get it done in the morning, then I don't have to worry about if she naps or not. So it's juggling the time that I'm restricted to, because I have to make sure that she's taken care of. Yeah. And it's like, at the end of the day, I don't want to. I probably could, but it's like I just want to relax at night. Yeah. I'd rather get it done early, and then I could sleep earlier. So
this whole time you didn't go to the gym, you trained from your own
Yeah.
gym at home in your garage, right?
Mhm.
So like you have quite a good
I have
equipment
some
there.
equipment. So yeah, I have like a half rack, which is like a barbell bench. So you could do squats, you could do
Chest press, yeah.
you could do deadlifts, you could do pretty much everything with just that setup. And then I have dumbbell, like specific dumbbells, and then a few kettlebells.
And you've got a pull-up bar,
I got a pull-up
Yeah.
bar, and I got just random
just bits and pieces.
TRX and bands and
Yeah.
stuff, but I don't use them as much as.
Yeah. And how did you find the training side of things?
It was good. I mean, you guys, I feel like really tailored the workouts and the training just as far as like what I did have, and then if I didn't have it, I would just message you and be like, "Hey, I don't have that.
Yeah.
Can you adjust that?" Or if you weren't able to, I would adjust it just for that time, and then you would adjust it the next time. So it's like no big problem. So
Would you say that like having structure was a big thing? Because no doubt, signing for something like that, the whole point of kind of doing that is most people lack structure, and that's why they really struggle to achieve the results. Would you say that having that structure on the program was helpful?
I think so. I like the structure. I like having knowing like what I have to do for that day. Like even on the workouts, I like that you have like an estimated time. It's like, oh, okay. I usually go over it because I don't know. That's just how I am. But it's like I know I have this certain amount of time. I have to get this done. So just putting yourself in that situation, getting it done. So, but the working out part
You enjoyed it.
I feel like it was
Yeah.
the easier part of the process.
Yeah.
It's like.
And what was your goal like joining the program? What did you want to achieve?
Me personally, I think it was more losing body fat and gaining some definition and I mean strength obviously, but mostly just losing the weight and keeping it off, and body fat mainly.
And so for the most part of those 2 years, you've been maintaining that sort of between the 30 to 40 pounds fat loss pretty consistently. We are now at the point where that's your kind of new set baseline of weight. How do you feel in that, new body?
Feels great. I mean, I feel like it's really weird. At first, I mean, I thought it was really weird because I was like, even my wife is like, when she would hug me, she's like, I can wrap my whole arms around you. This is interesting. It's like, yeah.
Was that not the case before?
I mean, she could, but I don't know. Even like she would tell me, she didn't even know that I was bigger. Like when we got married, she didn't even realize that I was that, like this is my size that I should be. Yeah. Versus like how we met, and it's like I didn't either. Yeah. I didn't realize that I thought I just would have had like bigger bones.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
Obviously
isn't it?
not bigger bones, but it's like you kind of just sit in that space where I was always like, like when I first started, I probably would be roughly around 10 to 15 pounds up or below that whenever we started. And it's just like, I'll never get under a certain thing. And I'm like, wow.
What was your weight before when we started?
I think when we started it was 170.
170?
Yeah.
And how tall are you?
5'6".
5'6". And so 570, so we are about 140. 130, sorry, 130, right? Was the lowest that we got. So, you're like 130, 132, something like that. Yeah. So 40 pounds, give and take. And so what do you feel when you look at the before photos of yourself?
I'm like, that's crazy. It's just, I can't believe it anymore. It's like it's a whole different life at this point. It's like, even just like pictures that we see, because there's pictures that pop up on your phone. Just like every time I see one, I'm like, look at this. This is crazy.
So like holiday photos from before and things like that.
We got our house or something like that, or holiday pictures. And we're just like, man, I had a pretty good round face before. That was interesting.
Does it feel good to look back and know how far you've come and what you've achieved?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Being able to just say that I did that, and I'm not going back to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in terms of, let's say, confidence, do you feel the difference? Do you feel more confident in your own skin when you go on holidays, taking your top off and stuff like that? Would you say there's been a change there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe it's more psychological, but then I'm still kind of like, is it okay? But then it's like when I take it off and I see myself, I'm like, oh, it's great. I'm like, it's a whole new thing for me. So, I mean, before I would always wear like the water shirts and stuff like that, or all the older dads would do also. So I would follow along with that. But now, I don't have a problem just wearing less, I guess, when we go, especially now when it's hot, and I'm like, let's go swimming, let's go to the river, let's go outside and do something. Let's go out in the sun.
So it's positively impacted your life in terms of being more active, and like, how does that translate into your family life and obviously the relationship with your little one?
I think it's been great. I mean, like all up and all positive, just because it's like I want to do more stuff with her. I want to take her out. I want to take her to the lake or whatever we want to do that weekend, or I mean, things that we plan. Obviously, we try to go to like Hawaii, like yearly. This year, probably not, but we've been going the last few years. I mean, that's when I started. I came back from Hawaii, and that first year I was like, oh. And then the year after, it was completely different, because we would go out and I had my shirt off, and it was just like, oh, this is great.
Amazing. Yeah.
Can go walk around. I don't feel self-conscious anymore.
The interesting thing is that kind of some way midpoint of this whole process, we started, seeing in your check-ins quite interesting answers, which were sort of more reflective of your family life. That's why I'm sort of asking how it changed that, that maybe potential relationship with your daughter in a positive way, because, we started seeing in your wins section for the week, you're like, I spent more quality time with my family, I had a good time with my daughter, mindfulness and things like that. So it clearly was way more than just a physical transformation for you. Like you said earlier, you started really kind of looking into more of a holistic approach to your life and to your lifestyle, from a perspective of, like you say, breathing exercises to manage your stress levels, sleep, and the fact that you have changed your sleeping patterns at work and go from, after 10 or 12 years of night shifts to changing it to your day shifts in order to improve your health is a massive thing, So I feel like, I don't know, you tell me, but I feel like the apart from obviously losing 40 pounds of body fat and transforming your physique, that's been a huge change, positive change. You kind of going, my life and my family and my health are way more important than me, than work or whatever it may be. What were the benefits? Like, why did you do the night shifts? Was it because the pay was better? Was it like overnight, or like what was the reason? Because you had the ability to change these things, and why didn't you?
I think it's more just, I was used to it, so it's like being able to just stay in your comfortable position, I guess. Like, working with the night shift is actually, it's different, because it's I don't know, the mindset, I guess, is a lot different, where you have a lot less resources, so you are kind of doing things on your own, and then the team is very important because you have to work together, and it's not like you're just doing stuff on your own. So I think the whole team aspect of it made me want to stay, where it's like, oh, in the daytime it's different. You can't do any of that stuff. And that just was something in my head where I didn't want to lose like the closeness of everybody, but it's also like,
okay.
Yeah.
So the environment at work and having your team around you,
Yeah.
why was that important? Because you said you had less resources. And what do you mean by that?
I think that was just more in my head. I mean, definitely less resources at work because since it's nighttime, they have just like one person that's on call for different things.
Right.
So like if there's somebody, like one of our patients were crashing or something, it's like, oh, we got to call overhead. There's still people there. There's somebody to help, obviously, but it's like if they're not the right person to help, then I don't know what's going to happen to that patient. So it's like we have to make sure that we're like on our best selves just to be able to help that person.
Right, I see. So it was more of a personal challenge, would you say?
Probably.
From like a professional perspective?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was also like I liked the people I worked with.
Yeah.
And then they all started to kind of trickle down to the daytime. So it's
really?
like,
Okay.
more and more people are leaving me. So it's like at the point where I did leave, it's like it's a whole new group.
Yeah.
And it's a whole new group of like a younger generation where it's like, oh, I'm the oldest one here now. And they're looking to me to answer all the questions. And I'm like, I can give you answers, but you got to experience that yourself. Like you got to learn also. And it's like, well, it was good because when I did go to the daytime, then I was kind of back to a lot of the old people that I used to work with. And it's like, oh, that whole camaraderie kind of came back again because at the end it was just a whole different thing. And it's a transition just as far as like people working the day shift and night shift and just like personalities, like they come and go because people retire, people just leave the unit, go to different places. And it's just like, you're just trying to get through the day together. And you want to make sure that it's a good day. Like obviously the unit that we work on is not, it's not a fun place to be. So you want to make sure that at least your surroundings are like, you have to keep it as light as you can with the people you work with.
Yeah, for sure. So you have to keep up the morale of the
you
team
have to make
be
sure
able
your
to...
morale is good, because then if you're not working together, you're by yourself and you're just like, well, I don't like this. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
So
from a stress perspective, how would you say your job when you were doing night shifts, how was that affecting you? I assume high stress levels.
Oh, yeah. High stress for sure. I mean, there's days definitely where it's not bad, not stressful at all. You're just like, okay, well, it really depends on the night. But yeah, there can be high stress, and just like maybe just that amount of time being awake, even if you're not doing anything, you're just like, why am I awake? Why? And then you have all these thoughts for no reason other than like your mind is just on for no when it should not be. You're just like, well, I'm thinking all these weird random thoughts because it's 2 a.m. or 3 a.m, and you're like, I should be going to sleep, but you can't.
Well, that's stressful in itself, isn't it?
Exactly.
When you know that you have to go to sleep.
And then when you go home and then you try to go to sleep and you're like, I can't, because now I'm excited because I'm home and I don't want to go to sleep, but I have to. So it's like,
yeah, that's really messed up.
Let me get all the lights down. Let me get an eye mask. Let me get all these things where it's like I have to try to get better sleep if I can. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's really messed up. So overall, it was a positive change. So do you think you would have done, I suppose it seems like you would have done at some point, because a lot of your teamwork, like sort of colleagues and the team members were leaving. So at some point you would probably have made that transition, would you say?
Probably would have. It just, I don't know if it would have been sooner or later, or it's hard to say. But there was definitely a point where I did a lot more research and like more introspection and just like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, because there were moments on the program where it's like your weight would have been stalling.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm really hitting my macros, this, that, the other. But what people sometimes don't understand, it was the case, you know, in your case, it's like, well, you have to understand that shift pattern is not the healthiest thing for your body. So your body is always going to be fighting against certain things. There is high stress levels. Obviously, sleep patterns are completely disrupted. Even though you've been doing it for 10, 12 years, it seems like it's always, you know, you had trouble falling asleep whenever you could, etc. So there's always that element.
Yeah.
Like I said, stress levels. And then, obviously, even if you did have time to sleep during the day, it's not the same quality sleep. Obviously, from a circadian rhythm perspective, it's completely different. And you then feel like you're missing out on family time. So that's kind of messed up because, you know, you do the bare minimum of the sleep that you need to. On top, you have to train and you kind of... So
there's just...
your brain is racing.
Always things on your mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, amazing. So you good point in your life now with, you know, with work and your health and everything. Health-wise, how have things changed in a positive way? So from, let's say, prior to starting the program, what's changed and what's changed for the better?
Health-wise, I mean, I didn't really look at as far as like going into the doctor. I mean, I did that probably midpoint. That's when I contacted you guys. But health-wise, I mean, just everything, as far as listening to my body, everything feels good. And I haven't ever, luckily, injured myself with anything. And I mean, I feel like just trying to listen to your body more now is very important as far as like, oh, okay, I need to pull back on, like, if I'm going to do a hard exercise, I need to make sure that I have enough rest before that.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, okay, I didn't get enough rest. Let me do something else and I can adjust and I can plan a different day or something like that. It's more just, I think, definitely listening to how my body feels. And
yeah, that's great. That's really important, isn't it?
And yeah, as far as like when we were going to the doctors and checking my like blood work, at that point it was like I had like higher cholesterol. I mean, it did lower at some point, but then I went on another deep dive as far as like the types of cholesterol and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, even the doctors that we have, they won't order the specific things that I want. Yeah. So it's like, well, if you're not going to do that, I'm going to just, I know as far as myself that I'm going in a correct direction. So when I can do that later on, I will do that. But at this point, it's like, well, as long as I know for myself that I'm doing the right things, then I won't really have to keep checking the things that I...
But things have improved, right?
Oh yeah, things have improved.
All the bloods and everything. Yeah. So overall, you know,
overall,
good,
it's been
good
great.
health, positive place. Yeah. Amazing. Would you say that you're in the best shape of your life right now?
Yes, I believe I am in the best shape, like by far.
Yeah. That's awesome. And what would you say to somebody who's, I don't know, and first of all, did you have anybody? So what was the reception of like friends, colleagues, other people? Did you get any comments, positive comments in terms of like the weight loss and all of that?
I mean, I can remember. I mean, there's different, like, obviously the spectrum goes from different ways. It's like the beginning you couldn't really see as much as far as that, but then like a few months in, people could see a change, and they're just like. Some people were like, "Oh, you look great! Like, oh, what are you doing? Tell me what you're doing." Or some people were just like, "Oh, you need to eat something."
Yeah, people don't understand, like, right? If they haven't got the
I'm
context.
Eating a lot. Don't worry, I'm eating a lot. It's okay. So, it's okay. Yeah.
Well, one of your friends, Locke,
Yeah.
He's been in the program for over 6 months.
Yeah.
He's staying for another year.
Oh, nice. I haven't talked to him in a while. I need to.
He
reach
looks
out to him.
absolutely awesome, man. We're gutted that he cannot come for a photo shoot.
Yeah,
He's obviously got
he's
really
got
crazy busy
too
life.
too many things going on.
But he looks absolutely amazing.
That's great.
Yeah.
I need to.
He's got like 3 kids, right?
He has
He's
3
just
kids.
got a little one a few
That's
months
why
ago.
I feel it's like I can't even complain with 1 kid. I can't believe
Yeah.
3 kids, and then he has like
Multiple
multiple
businesses.
practices. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
But he looks amazing, like shredded, feels amazing. So yeah, thank you for the recommendation.
absolutely.
You did a good deed because you've changed another life by,
I know.
by doing
I need
that.
to.
So
I need to link up with that guy. So
yeah, that's really great. What would you say to somebody who's kind of thinking of potentially doing something like this? I always ask this question because there are, so many people that look from the sidelines and they feel like they would want to do that,
Yeah.
but they don't necessarily believe that they can achieve what others have achieved.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they feel like their circumstances are different, or for whatever reason they talk themselves out or don't believe in themselves or their abilities to achieve something like that.
yeah.
What would you say to somebody like that?
Don't think too much on it. Just think about yourself. Invest in yourself. Invest in these guys, and just put in the work, and you'll be the best. Be the best person you will be in a few months, because that's what you just put it in, and then you'll get what you put in out of it. So,
Would you say it's been like the best investment in yourself doing this?
oh yeah, I mean that's the only investment I feel like. I mean,
But I feel like, because you were pretty much, when you contacted me, you're like, yeah, okay, sounds good. I know somebody who's done it. I'm in. You were
Yeah.
kind of committed from day one,
I
even
feel
on
like
the
I
call.
was- yeah.
You knew that you wanted to do it.
I knew I needed a change. I needed something to change as far
Yeah.
as just like lifestyle,
Yeah,
because whatever I was doing was not working, and everything I tried was just kind of not to the level I wanted, and it's just kind of
yeah.
stayed.
So this is an interesting one. Where do you feel you would be if you didn't do the program?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Do you think you would have continued doing like bits and pieces here and there, maybe, like a fat diet here or there? Do you feel like you would be where you are right now, or would you be heavier? Would you be,
I would probably be
what's the guess?
fluctuating still,
Mm-hmm.
just up and down, all around.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to say, because I took a chance and didn't look back. So I try not to think about what could have been anymore. So it's
Yeah. And do you feel now you are at the place where it's easily sustainable for you? You know what you're doing.
yeah, sustainable. I believe I kind of just want to push more.
Yeah, I love that.
I think I want to do more as far as just building myself. So
And building the physique.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So you clearly got the bug, and it's not something that, okay, I've ticked it and I'm going back to my old habits, my old self.
Maybe I'll go for a week or so while I'm on vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, regardless of the things, I know my mindset is completely changed. So yeah, I don't think I could ever go back to where I was.
And so just very briefly, because obviously we cannot forget your wife in this whole process, because she was in a way a catalyst for you signing to this and achieving everything that you've achieved. How was it? Well, not that I want you to talk for her, but how do you feel it was in that setting? Was it difficult for her, and what was the support like? Well, she was clearly very supportive of you doing something
definitely
like that.
supportive. I'm sure it was difficult at some points, just because when we would go to like dinner, or like she would want to make dinner or go to dinner, it's like I would be more not like I wouldn't want to go or anything, or I wouldn't want the dinner. I would just be like, okay, can I just see what you're making?
Yeah.
Can I see what you're putting in there? I just want to make sure so I can track it. So it's more just same thing, being mindful, I guess, of her, because I know, especially on some days where if I know we're going to be going out, then I'll definitely hold off as far as like the fat and macros and carbs and stuff. Like, oh, okay, I'll hold back on that. So it's a lot of planning before. If I know I'm going to go out, then, oh, easy, I can do that. I'll just adjust accordingly and then do that now. So, but definitely the beginning, I was like, what do I do, guys? My wife's going to be mad. You can't go to dinner. It's like, we can't have dinner together. Like, what do I do? So, but
overall, she was really supportive.
Overall, yeah, even still, she's just been a very, the rock, the support system. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Listen, man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're obviously in London. We're going to go do a pre-shoot. Tomorrow we've got a photo shoot, so we've got a lot of things to go through. But thank you for making it all the way from Sacramento, from Cali, all the way here.
So happy to be here.
It's great to have you here, and pleasure to meet you in person, because it's been like 2 years in the making, and finally you're here, and like we got to meet you in person.
So crazy. It's like unbelievable.
Thank you.